Parish, January 22nd, regular meeting to order. Mr. Hopkins, if you'll do the roll call, please.
Dominic, Johnson, Williams,
Here.
Lynn, Bowman,
Present.
Baker, Gage Watts, Escadade,
Here.
Thibodeau, Cox, Smith,
Here.
Epperson.
We'll have the invocation by Commissioner Dominic and the pledge by Mr. John Vaughn with the U.S. Marines from 75 to 79.
Y'all all rise. We'll bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here today. I ask you that you watch and protect us, forgive us our many sins, our failures and faults and shortcomings. I ask and pray that you will just be with us, be with our commissioners and each and every one of us, be with our constituents and residents, and be with the commissioner and Dr. Wilson as they are off on the commission business at this time. I ask and pray that you forgive us our many sins. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Come on forward. Tell him what
Mr.
to do.
Vaughn, you can come up. I don't know where he is. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Beautiful Canaderos.
I love this high tech.
Are there any agenda additions? I see there's no agenda additions. Citizens' comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the foyer, and return it to either myself or to Mr. Hopkins, and we will allow you to speak at the beginning.
What you consider
The visitors that I have,
Grant Sluter, though.
I realize that. Thank you. I'll handle it. The cards that I have so far look like everybody is here for a zoning hearing, and as long as the rest of the commissioners are okay with it, I'd like to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Grant Sluter to come up and speak as our first visitor, so that he can get back down to New Orleans instead of staying towards the public hearings on the ordinance. If there's no opposition to that, I'll just rule that by acclamation. Thank you, Mr. Sluter. You're welcome to come up.
Thank you very much. And this concerns the refinancing or the refunding of your 2008 bonds. And you also have present Alex Washington, co-bond counsel, and Namdi Thompson, municipal advisor for the transaction. First of all, as you all know, you were affirmed with your AAA rating. So again, you're the only one with the general rating of AAA in Louisiana. Obviously, that means lower interest rates, and whether you're borrowing new money or whether you're refinancing as you are here, you're going to get the very lowest rates possible. The underwriter for the bonds priced the bonds this morning successfully. The market was good. The net savings to taxpayers after all costs from the refinancing, $416,000. $416,000. And the principal amount is $6,345,000 of bonds, $416,000 net savings to taxpayers. Reduce the interest rate on the bonds. They were up to 4.75%, reduced it down to 2.35%. Present savings percentage far in excess of the State Bond Commission requirements. You had 5.40% savings compared to the State Bond Commission recommended guideline of 3%. Again, very good, and you're holding on to your AAA, and everything's in good order. With the public hearing and the adoption of the bond ordinance, this will complete the sale. The savings are locked in, and again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, one comment. I know we don't have our technology with us
Go
today.
ahead.
Just one quick comment on behalf of Southern Hills District 10, and I imagine all the commissioners up here. Your organization has done an outstanding job ever since I've been here and known you. to do what you've done with these bonds, cut it in half, save the parish money, save the taxpayers money. I would just like to say thank you and job well done, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. It's a cooperative effort, you know, with all the professionals involved, but you guys really make it happen with the way you manage your finances. Again, the AAA, absolutely incredible. Yes, sir.
Also, I like to echo what he's saying. I like your inclusive partnership, working across lines and working with other minorities to be inclusive. And that's one of the most important moves I see, and that's what it's all about. Putting up together, working with smart, bright, young people in our community, in our state. And I just want to commend you for not only that, but showing that you're willing to reach out and be partners with it throughout this whole state. That says a lot about your organization, and also keep up the good work.
It is a team effort, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as you're here, you might want to introduce yourself to the new mayor. The city in the past has had a very difficult time trying to figure out how to come up with a bond, and you might be able to simplify it for them.
I know she'll do very well. Thank you.
Mr. Hopkins, let's move on to special resolutions.
Okay, special resolution, special proclamation recognizing Mr. Sam Burns 2014 Independence Bowl Sportsman of the Year.
I'd like to move that to our next meeting. He's not able to come right now, so it's February.
February the 5th.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic to our next meeting, second by Commissioner Epperson. Let's vote, please. All in favor? Aye. There you go. Thank you.
Next, we move to communiques and committee reports.
I'd just like to say,
Commissioner Williams,
go ahead, Dana.
you started talking first. Commissioner Williams, go on. Commissioner Williams?
I'd like to say that the Juvenile Justice Committee did meet on Monday regarding the expungement summit, planning another expungement summit for 2015. We hope to shoot for a date in April. Also, they met regarding a new initiative called the Cultural Connection Summit with our police department. Because of the national tension in America and this culture, relationship with the police department throughout our country. And we want to avoid the incident that happened in Ferguson and with Trayvon Martin. So we need to reach out and de-escalate the relationship and police etiquette, how to get out the car, how to have good working relationship with our police department and our men and women who serve us. We definitely need our men and women who serve and protect us, but also we need to learn how to coexist together in this new culture and how to respect the police. So we're excited about working with Reverend Porter and Miss Laura with the probation officer, putting that program together. Be working with our resource officer at the school. So look forward to that Culture Connected Summit with our generation, and learn how to respect the police, and the police learn how to respect this culture. So I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson?
If you'll see the board, you got flash drive that's rotating some different potential code enforcement violations in the parish. I want to bring that to everyone's attention. Some of those things we found out that's in the city. So these are some things that we really need to address, and our constituents in the rural areas would like for us to address those issues too. So what we want to do is make sure that we do all that we can to make our parish pleasingly, aesthetically. We have 18 compactor sites, so there's no reason for that type of stuff going on. So let's make sure that we let the citizens know what we have in place for them, and the codes that we have in place, the different things that can be done to make sure that they are enforced. Also, I'd like to thank the administration for the participation in my District 12 informational meeting on last Thursday, January the 15th. Good crowd, as always substantive. Always appreciate the staff on setting up things immaculately providing all good factual information there verbally, as well as information that the citizens can take home with them. Hopefully, if it's God's will and I'm still in place and we're still here, next year we'll probably be moving to Huntington where the parking and the logistics are a lot better. I got several calls that some people couldn't get in, and so it's a very good meeting. We thank the staff. And the video of the meeting will be on our website, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe it's on now.
Oh, it's ready now? Okay, all right. Video is on because I got a lot of calls from people out of state that are basically interested in the Elio Motors and the development at General Motors, and the ones that could not make it. So I told them they could pull it up on their website. So I'll email them back again. Thank you.
Commissioner Dominic?
Commissioner Jefferson, did you take those pictures or did Mr. Demishow take them?
I took them.
I noticed that it seemed like one of those, some of that dumping is going, looks like to me like down an industrial road or something, just like people are taking dump.
That's our industrial part.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Off Sheriff
We
Francis.
talked to the sheriff's office to try to get them to do a little bit more.
Well, you know, our deal is now the constables and the public works. So I've emailed those to the constable, and of course our people have it. So that's where it starts.
Well, I was just
at
saying,
this point.
to go down there a little bit more frequently or write the reports. You know, I had a situation like that and asked the sheriff to, you know, he had the deputies go down there just a little bit more frequently, and just they would sit there and write reports, and it kind of discouraged. I guess the word got out. The sheriff's out there patrolling, and they quit dumping it. I haven't had any problems. So.
Well, our Bowling Drive is a paved. It's a paved street.
Yeah.
And so you know, I call at South Camp and ask them if they might have a patrol officer maybe park there at that entrance and see if that'll deter it.
Okay.
Whoever picks it up, they might be able to find an address in that trash as well. If there's no further communiques or committee report, excuse me.
Matthew, yes, sir. I just want to make sure that there's a handout in front of each one of y'all. We're getting ready for our legislative session down in Baton Rouge. This year starts April the 13th. It's a self-explanatory letter there. If you got some priorities and things and that you might want us to address at the legislature this year, we're asking you to give us a list of it. Plus, there's also a list of what our legislative priorities we did last year, just to give you an idea. That's not a list for this year. It's just a list from last year that we handed out to them. So it's something to go by if you want us to take a look at that. I appreciate it.
Mr. Epperson.
Fiscal session this year too now. Each legislator only have 5 bills that's not containing to fiscal legislation. So if you got something other than fiscal bill, you need to plug into them early.
Mr. Lynn.
Commissioner Cox.
On the bill side, I can tell you that through the Police Jury Association, we will be handing a bill to Baton Rouge about texting and driving, and putting an emphasis on if there's a fatality and trying to make those a little bit stiffer. And we're one of the last states to do so. So that should be coming up in our region meetings right before the legislative conference. So.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked the administration on Monday. I know because of time, it may not have an opportunity to do so. But I am concerned about the public safety of people coming inside our public facility regarding wearing the hoodies on the inside of the facility. Were there any national policies or from local counties and cities across America asking people that come inside of a building, pull your hoodie off? Because I know in the private sector, banks and those things are doing it because of public safety reasons. And it's bad in this day and time that we got to police people and tell them to have respect and courtesy and those type of things. So I hope that
we're reaching out.
Secondly, I also asked that administration reach out to the class, Booker T. Washington High School had the march on Little Union.
Lynn Braggs.
I know Selman has a thing, but we have history right here in our own backyard. The untold stories of the movement we had here locally, which I think would help educate our young people. They don't recognize that the contribution that was made in order to have the freedom that we have, because the stories are not being told. They're told about other things on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. I think a piece of our history is missing if we don't recapture that excitement in our community. So hopefully we can reach out to those students and just have a reenactment and let them feel the the strength and the spirit of the movement. So I appreciate you reaching out and doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
See no further communications. We're going to skip right over the president's report and move to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held January 8th.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Escaday. Any questions? Move to vote. All those in favor, hold your right hand up. Thank you.
I know you're from Vivian, but he's his right hand.
I'm left-handed.
Move on to public hearings.
A public hearing on zoning appeal, zoning case appeal P 2314 in regards to ordinance number 5457 of 2014, 10943 Old Mansfield Road, east side of Old Mansfield Road at the intersection with Oak Hollow Lane. Faradune and Bashara and Persis Sharaf Living Trust applicant and appellant. Request to rezone property located on the east side of Old Mansfield Road from RA Residential Agricultural District to B1 Neighborhood Business District with site plan approval. The Metropolitan Planning Commission denied the applicant's request and they are appealing this decision.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this case? And I believe this is your primary speaker will have 5 minutes.
Right.
Everybody after that will have 3 minutes, and you will have a maximum of 5 additional people that are allowed to talk after your primary speaker. I don't know which of these is your primary speaker, so if whoever that is, if you'll approach the podium and state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Thompson. My address is 3902 Lee Street, Alexandria, Louisiana. I'm the general manager of Ratcliffe Development, which is here on behalf of the applicant in conjunction with a development project that we are spearheading on this property. One item, a housekeeping item of note, I noticed that on the agenda it requests a B1, and actually the application for the Municipal Planning Committee was for a B2. I don't know if that has any bearing on our conversation today, but just a housekeeping item, like I said. We're a Dollar General preferred developer, one of 42 in the United States. And we routinely respond to Dollar General requests for proposals all across markets from Louisiana to New Mexico. Typical assignment for us is we're given a latitude and longitude. We can submit a location that meets their requirements within 1/2 mile of any direction of that latitude and longitude. Having done this numerous times over many years, we've learned how to very quickly identify which locations meet their requirement and which locations don't. Without burning up too much time, it boils down to DOTD access connection permits. The DOTD will not permit a driveway that lines up with a crossover on a divided highway. So in the instance of this location, there's only 4 properties within the designated area that are compliant with their requirements. 2 of them have existing businesses on them, 2 of them do not. One landowner was not interested in selling. The 4th location is the one we're here to talk about today. We submitted a plan or an application to the MPC to have this property rezoned. There were numerous issues with that rezoning process, from where the signs were posted to whether or not the meeting was actually going to be held. As it turns out, the MPC denied our request based on what they classified was spot zoning. Well, all the property in this particular area is currently zoned R1, so if any new business development is going to happen in this area, it's going to require rezoning, which will ultimately lead to spot zoning. The other thing that was interesting to me was, according to the long-range land use plan that the Municipal Planning Committee has per their written instructions, is this property is designated to be rezoned as a light industrial business park, of which our request is permissible by right under that zoning. So when I asked the MPC, how is it they can turn down a rezoning application because it creates spot zoning on a piece of property that by their own admission they intend to rezone, they could not give me an answer. So we're here today to talk about economic development. We're here today to talk about jobs. We're here today to talk about tax revenue. We're here to today to talk about how do we help improve the blighted conditions of some property that are in this particular area. The only way that we can do this is by having a rezoning of this property. Now, there have been several issues that have been brought to our attention in the process of the MPC application and subsequent denial and our application to be here today. The largest of those issues seems to be safety. Let me say this. I'm not a traffic engineer. I'm not a civil engineer, but we hire those people. We hire those people in every jurisdiction to develop a set of plans that's permitted by the Louisiana Department of Transportation. Those people are the professionals that every day determine what is permissible and what is not permissible, what is safe and what is not safe. We have no intention, never have and never will, of filing any type of permit that would create an unsafe situation under those circumstances. We're simply interested in putting a 9,100 square foot retail facility in a much needed area, along with a local bank that has expressed interest in a much needed and underserved area. To do this, we will need a driveway application permit on the highway. We will need a driveway application permit on Old Mansfield Highway, which is to the side. And I am more than happy to work with the Municipal Planning Committee or any other body that we need to work with in order to accomplish this to the satisfaction of everyone. Our application was for a zoning change, not a site plan approval. Typically, you don't engage the engineering to do site plan approval on a piece of property that doesn't have a compatible zoning. And I believe that that's why we're here today, because somewhere along the way, those two issues got a little mixed up. Thank you for your time.
Also speaking on behalf of this project, Mr. Jeff Westmoreland.
So, is the projector working?
No. Yeah, I apologize that all of this equipment here is not working. Our show of hands indicates that also, and we are in the process of working with the City of Shreveport to correct it all, hopefully permanently.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Westmoreland. I'm an attorney here in Shreveport. I represent Ratcliffe Development and the applicant. My address is 333 Texas Street, Suite 2350, Shreveport 71101. Don't really want to reiterate the same things that Mr. Thompson has, but I want you to think about these questions. This property is set up for light industrial under the master plan. I talked to two MPC staff today about the comments that were made at the MPC hearing, the opposition. Most of the opposition centered around traffic, some traffic safety, some traffic volume. There were some complaints by some neighbors that, you know, we don't want this business here. Well, what's going to happen when you attempt to make this light industrial? As we all know, a Dollar General store runs a pretty quiet operation. If you try to make this property light industrial, we're going to have the same concerns that were voiced by all the opposition, even more so. And we know that a B2 is allowed under an industrial zoning. So the issues that were set forth before the Planning Commission are not really, you know, the issues that apply to this property because it's already master planned for a different kind of zoning. I understand that it's RA now, but if it's going to be changed or developed, the plan is for light industrial. Well, light industrial is going to be heavier use, heavier traffic than what we're talking about right now. And the spot zoning issue, as Mr. Thompson said, any business along this stretch and the businesses that exist right now are all individual locations. There is no master plan or large built-out project except for the school across the street. So everything out there is quote-unquote spot zoning. And everything that's going to come there is going to be quote-unquote spot zoning. Because we all know that there is no current plan to turn this into light industrial business park. That is a hope and a wish and a master plan, but there is no current plan. So we're going to continue to turn away business because a bank, of all things, a bank, because it's spot zoning. None of it makes sense. I think what happened here is that you had some people complain about traffic and safety, and the whole thing went off the rails, and then all of a sudden we're talking about spot zoning. They're not consistent, and as you know, when it's not consistent, it gets pretty close to arbitrary. And that would be my position, is that based on the complaints and based on the recommendation, that you've got a decision here that really comes very close to being arbitrary. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this project? Please state your name and address.
Okay. Philip Lane, 5425 Haywood Drive, Keithville, Louisiana, 71047. I am a retired professional engineer, 35 years at Lucid Technologies. I have lived in Keithville or been associated with a property adjacent. I have 5 acres that are adjacent to this property that's in question. I waited, the house that's there now was the first house built on Highway 171 when it was constructed. I've seen all of the buildings and businesses go up that are currently there. I've waited 61 years to see an acceptable business go on the corner of this property. Some of the opposition, I think, maybe occurred or what came from the fact that maybe the property wasn't identified properly in the notice that went out to the residents. It said at the corner of Oak Hollow and Old Mansfield Road. Well, the portion between the red light and the railroad track in Keithville, across from the school, is not Old Mansfield Road. That is Barron Road Extension. Barron Road, that's the route that they took to get to Keithville before Highway 171 was even constructed. I think that probably created some confusion, the fact that the sign that was asking for rezoning was down at the railroad track on the west end of the property, not the east end next to the school and red light. So the people I think that were on that end probably properly got excited and concerned about the traffic and things that might take place. By the way, I do approve of this application. Dollar General is a reputable, financially stable company. They have outstanding offer to buy Family Dollar. Family Dollar has yet to agree to that, but just for your information, I thought you'd find that interesting. The trucks entering this property will most absolutely come from Highway 171. They do have room to turn around on the property. It's not anything the truck's going to back in or back out. In fact, that's against the state law. The company has provided a lot more parking spaces than Dollar General usually requires. They really only need about an average of 10 parking spaces, and they're up to 30 to comply with the MPC. There are 27 business companies between the city limits and the second red light where Jim South is. And of that, 11 of them are from the first red light in Keithville to the second red light. Now, they may not be zoned business, but they certainly should have been, or maybe at some point in time are required to do so. But to turn down a request for rezoning and calling it spot zoning with that type of businesses that are right down the road within 6/10 of a mile. You've got 11 businesses. Some of them are zoned properly. The ones on the east side next to the post office are.
I'll take a motion from the floor to extend your time. I'd let you go 1 minute over.
Thank you very much.
So moved. You're good.
The current taxes on that property, thank you, is $40. The investment's going to be close to 1.2 million. I don't have to tell you the tax impacts that would have on the parish. And there's a fire district down there in Keithville that's had a difficult time meeting their budget in the past years. And an addition of this nature would certainly help them. And it would certainly help Caddo Parish. Inventory taxes for the state, and there's approximately 17,000 residents that could use that from the census that would probably be available to use this store if they wanted to. I think Economic Development 101, I don't see how anybody in his right mind could, well, deny this request, but that's my opinion. And I hope you won't disappoint me and others that desire the same results. You're just putting off the inevitable. Make a decision that's best for the parish. I think that's what a lot of y'all have expressed, that you want what's best for the parish. So I challenge you to do that. The handout that I gave you, it shows the businesses that are between the two red lights. And there's even some that are left off. Some of them are abandoned. And so that's my input, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Excuse me, we're not allowed to ask questions. I apologize that our overhead projector is not working. Where is your land in your house? It's on this other flyer.
Oh, right.
Mr. Lane, on this.
You see where it says Keithville, you see Parish Park up at the top, up here, Parish Park?
Oh, can you show us on the other one? It might be easier.
Oh, okay, well, it's, okay, let me get that real quick.
It's about 2 houses down.
This is the property that I currently own right here, where that little house is.
It's adjacent on the large lot that goes all the way from Mansfield Road to Old Mansfield Road.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor of zoning case P2314? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to case P2314? I have 3 cards. Mr. Chris Parker. And you have 5 minutes, sir.
I will try, Mr. Lynn. I think I'd run about 6 by the time I read this.
Okay.
I've asked Mr. Hopkins to give you all a copy of this in case I stutter and stumble through it. My name is Michael Allen. I live at 5127 Oak Hollow Street in Keithville. Oak Hollow is adjacent to the proposed zoning property change. First off, as a representative of my neighborhood, the neighbors of Old Mansfield Road, Cutoff Road, Gray Top Road, of which I have personally spoke with 30 more residents, and have a petition with over 50 signatures, which Mr. Hopkins has, that we as a community, along with neighborhoods and business owners in Keithville, who are also here to petition this commission, welcome Dollar General, Ratcliffe Development, or any other entity who would like to locate a business in Keithville to promote economic growth and provide acceptable retail services to our community. However, we are adamantly opposed to the rezoning of this property, now or in the future, that would in any way permit egress to this property along this stretch of the Old Mansfield Road. This property rests in an already heavily traveled 2-lane road in a dangerous blind curve. The eastern edge of the property intersects Highway 171, which is Mansfield Road, adjacent to the Keithville Middle School, an intersection with no south or north turn signals or turn lanes, and has a school crosswalk. The Department of Transportation has already denied any type of egress along Mansfield Road for this property because of its proximity to the traffic intersection. The DOT, the Department of Transportation, as far as I know, has no immediate plans to change the sequencing of this signal to provide north or south turn lanes or arrows, or to allow a curb cut along Highway 171 to that property. I have with me, the western edge of this property is composed of a blind curve and intersects with the old Mansfield Road cutoff, an unprotected railroad crossing, and Ocala Street, which is also a school bus stop. Sandra Lawrence owns property at the southwest corner bordering the proposed property and is an objection to the zoning change. Michelle Bell, a public servant with the Shreveport Fire Department, lives on the north side of the blind curve and has already had several vehicle crashes in her front yard. Ms. Bell is not present today as she had a doctor's appointment, but was present at the MPC hearing on this issue, and her objection is part of public record. Mr. David Billingsley owns the remaining property north of this property, across the street, and he is also in objection. I don't have the overhead projector, but I have a series of photographs that I took in a 9-minute window showing the blind curve, the traffic, the 18-wheelers, several cars, trucks, passenger cars, people taking their children to and from school in that 9-minute window, if anyone wants to look at them.
You can hand those to Mr. Hopkins at the
All
end.
right, sir.
He can pass those down.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, allowing any kind of a zoning change in this section of the Old Mansfield Road, which is already at present dangerous to travel, will result in curb cuts along this section. It will increase the amount of traffic along the stretch of the blind curve. It will cause immediate residents to alter their daily driving habits. It will increase the amount of traffic using the cutoff road, which is a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. It will put literally hundreds of cars off of hundreds of cars off of Highway 171 and place them in this melee. I am confident that Dollar General has done their due diligence to ensure their investment, and that includes traffic studies. To ensure that amount of traffic, it will rely on pulling the majority of those customers off of Highway 171. And then those same customers will exit the Highway 171 or proceed through the blind curve and beyond. I have not mentioned the increased hazards of the delivery vehicles that will be supplying this business. There are diagrams from the architect. I think everyone has as part of this. The diagrams from the architect are depicting 18-wheelers entering on a 20-foot wide driveway with a slightly wider curb cut onto the property. The truck must enter onto the property, enter into oncoming traffic first, enter into the curb cut, then maneuver in the parking lot to deliver goods, turn the truck around, and exit. What this rendering does not show is any vehicles in the road being stopped in the blind curve, any vehicles in the Dollar General parking lot impeding the truck from entering or maneuvering, any vehicles approaching from 171, backing up traffic as the driver miraculously enters that property, and does not show the blind curve, and that the truck must enter opposing traffic immediately after completing the turn.
Motion to extend Mr. Parker's time.
Second.
Thank you. Keep
Thank
going,
you,
sir.
gentlemen. I'm getting right to the end here. The rendering shows the vehicle approaching the entrance from the southwest end of the property through the blind curve and not from Highway 171, a direction which no one can guarantee, but I can guarantee that it will impede traffic. The delivery vehicles are not always 18-wheelers. There are other trucks with trailers, vendors like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Little Debbie snacks. All of this delivery traffic, increased traffic for customers patronizing Dollar General or any other business with curb cuts along this should not be allowed by the ZBA, the MPC, or this commission. We, the people who have signed this petition, are asking you commissioners to please do not allow a zoning change for this property. I have one other quick thing, Mr. Lynn, please. The gentleman who spoke first said something about a bank being on here. All I have is a diagram that depicts the Dollar General store. Is there some other
I think that there may be several documents. One that I saw a long time ago had different information than what I had today.
Yes, sir.
So I think that there is different information, misinformation even, possibly out there.
Okay. Would that ever be made available to us?
I would hope so, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, Mr. Parker. Mr. Robert Reed. I guess I'm guessing everybody else is in opposition. I have 2 more cards. Mr.
Good
Reed,
evening.
please state your name and address, sir.
My name is Robert Reed. I live at 5063 Oak Hollow. My main concern is the safety that we have there at that intersection. I have a parent that lives over on the cutoff road that I constantly go over and check on him, and I am caught at that light several times a day. In the evening time when the traffic is very heavy and at school time. The traffic right now at school hours of letting out, the cutoff road is completely blocked, completely. We end up going out the other way just to go home. In the evening at 5 o'clock, the lights, we do not have signals to go north or south. Traffic backs up from going to the east and to the west. 5 or 6 cars, you can't turn. The light changes, the cars pile up right there in front of where this business will be. Again, too, you have congestion in the curve. Also, when the train comes, it's a distraction. At the same time, people are crossing over there. If you come from going south on the Mansfield Road 171, the turn lane will only hold about 4 cars, 5 cars tops. If they're stopped there to turn into that, the traffic is going to be blocked as they're trying to pull into the store with an 18-wheeler. That's going to bring more traffic back up on Mansfield Road. I've seen times where those cars are almost back, if you're familiar with the intersection, it's almost back to the train trestle. At times, if there's problems there. I have seen where the fire trucks are stopped in the curve because the traffic's backed up at the light. And our rescue people cannot even get around there to go and tend with the emergencies that we have. We've got a set of plans here. This is completely different than the ones that we have. I don't know what why they have changed this. I've never seen this proposal of a bank here, but I don't know, do you all have a copy of this?
Point of order. That cannot be shown.
Mike, do they
here.
have a copy of this?
They were just giving it to me now.
That cannot be shown here.
Dude.
That can't be shown here?
Point of order,
I'm sorry.
that plan that he has in his hand is not a part of the appeal of the original that was sent to us.
Okay.
That is totally different. That is totally different
This
from
is a
the
different
original.
plan, yes, sir.
Okay.
So that cannot be,
we have one that was
cannot be
submitted.
shown.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm concerned of the traffic there because of the children. I'd hate to see a life lost with the traffic congestion that's there, you know. And I've been out there since 1985. I have seen that traffic get worse and worse and worse. We've had many a wreck there. Miss Bell, they've had many a wrecks right there in that curve. Ended up in her yard.
Motion to extend Mr. Reed's time.
Thank you. In the time that I've been out there, like I said, I'm concerned really of our fire department. I have seen several times they're stopped right there in that curve because of the traffic congestion right there. And as far as our children, that's my main concern is our children. I don't have any more young ones out there, but I still wouldn't want to see something happen to our children right there at that school from the congestion of that intersection. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Michael Allen?
I'm actually Chris Parker, not Michael
You're here to
Allen.
support?
I'm Chris Parker. I'm our opposition. Mike Allen was the first guy that spoke.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Chris Parker.
I'm sorry, I must have had his name down twice then.
Well, that's fine.
And your name, sir?
I'm Chris Parker. I live at 5103 Oak Hollow.
Okay, thank you.
I've lived there, like Robbie Reed and everybody else, since the early 80s. We were the first ones on Oak Hollow. We've watched the traffic move and move and move and grow, all like it has over the years, and it is getting impossible now. You have a very short space, a very narrow space where they want to put this store. Then we moved out there to move away from the city. Everybody knew it when we moved out there would not be stores on every corner. And that's why we moved out there. And we're not in opposition to this. They spoke of all these stores within a certain space, but every one of them is on a main road, not a major thoroughfare. They're on a short street, or they come off Mansfield Road. They do not come like this one does. This is a very hazard place, and like I said, we moved out there to get away from it, and now you're putting us right back into where we come from. All right, Miss Bell, the one that they keep referring to, she grew up on Oak Hollow. She chose to stay in Keyfield. She moved into a house right across the street from where this Dollar General will be going. I don't think she moved over there so she could look at a store facing every time she walked out her front door. I mean, that's just not what you moved to the country for. Yes, we moved out. We didn't move that far. And we understood when we moved out there, we would have to go to town to get our groceries and do what we needed. That was acceptable because that's what we were doing. So it's not a necessity to have it on this piece of property. If they put it around the corner where you don't come into a dangerous curve, or you get away from this one section, and anybody that's ever been out there, if you ain't been out there, you need to go see where this is talking about going. It's not like what everybody makes it out, oh, it's safe. Because I come last night, coming home, I met 5 tractor trailers, saltwater trucks, drilling rigs, all from one company coming. I met them at the red light. We got the green light. I was on Barron Road. I crossed over. One truck was out in the middle of Mansfield Road at the time. He made the light. The second one didn't make the light because I sat there and watched him, but he turned anyways and stopped the traffic. 2 other ones still didn't, and they were backed up to the curb in traffic when I went through. So this is just not a good plan. The store is welcome in Keyfield, but not in this location. And that's all we really have to say. It's just not a good location for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 2 more cards delivered to me. Michelle Bell.
Total 15 minutes. Let's adhere to that.
Well, that is...
Thank you. My name is Michelle Bell. I live at 10936 Old Mansfield Road, which is directly across the street from the business in question. I've been living there for 8 years. And the reason why I moved out there was the country setting. And now to look out my front window and see a Dollar General, not only would it decrease my property value, be something I'm displeased in. For not only the huge safety concern as far as where they're planning on putting this business, I mean, I've been there 8 years. I've had many wrecks just with no business across the street that end up in my front yard. Not only that, I have children that like to play outside in the country, which is why I bought the property. Huge safety concern for my children because you have predators who they would have somewhere to park across the street now, you know. Not only that, the traffic. In the mornings, there's kids that wait at a bus stop right there. There's kids that walk to school. I see them walk to school every morning. I'm just kind of jumping on the bandwagon that everybody else did. huge curve there, major safety concern. So if y'all could reconsider, that would be great. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there's just one more card, and Mr. Andrew Matthews at the same address as previous. Mr. Matthews, if you could touch base on something that nobody else has touched base on.
Y'all have a good day. That's pretty much it. That's the biggest thing is the safety aspect of there being a business right there. It's a blind curve. You know, even taking out all the trees there, you'll still have a giant concrete box that blocks your 90-degree view of the oncoming roadway. Okay, so you got 18-wheelers coming in, you've got cars back and forth. That's a hazard waiting to happen. There's already wrecks, like Michelle said. You know, we have cars end up in our front yard constantly. Okay, now you put a business with exiting traffic. Okay, coming out in the roadway. I'll tell you what, that'd be a bad day if one of my children get hit by a car, caused by a wreck because of a new business that didn't have to be there in the first place. See what I'm saying? Yes. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hopkins.
Close the public hearing on zoning appeal. Move to public hearing on zoning ordinance. Ordinance number 5458 of 2014 regards to zoning case P2214. Request to rezone property located at 9600 Wallace from RA to B1 with site plan approval.
Is anyone here to speak in favor of this case? Is anyone here to speak in opposition? Move on to public hearing by ordinances.
Public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5459 of 2015, introducing an ordinance providing for the issuance, which we've already done.
Right.
Ordinance number 5460 of 2015, closing and abandoning a portion of certain road dedication located in section 33, township 23 north, range 15 west in Caddo Parish.
Okay, I do have one card. Does anyone here to speak in favor of this?
No, come on up and give us.
Old habit, huh?
What?
Old habit.
Yeah, but I just take a look at that.
Please state your name and address. And
my name is John Vaughn, 7804 Myra Murtis Road, Ida, Louisiana. The reason we'd like this abandoned is because we're trying to get our home refinanced through the VA, and the VA will not allow financing of any sort if there is a right-of-way that is touching the corner of the house. This right-of-way was put in back, I believe, in 1929, and our house was built back in the mid-50s, and the corner of the house touches the right-of-way. So we're asking that the right-of-way be abandoned so that we may refinance the home. We can get it refinanced through conventional, but it'll be 1.5 points higher to 2 points higher. So we're just asking that it be abandoned so that we own the property on both sides of the right-of-way. We own the entire 45 acres there. We're just asking just to have it abandoned so we can get the home refinanced.
thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Thank you, Mrs. Vaughn. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to case ordinance 5460? Not, we move on. Mr. Hopkins.
Next, we move to zoning appeal for final passage. Zoning case appeal P2314 in regards to ordinance number 5457.
Mr. President, I move to remand this back to the MPC. And you've all heard lots of different things here and different problems, and I think the new look at it will maybe be able to solve some of these problems. I know we can't solve them all. We must listen to the neighbors, yet we need businesses in Keithville, as all of you know. We need to grow. We need Keithville cleaned up. This is one way to get it started, but at the same time, we must always remember the residents who lived there before this came up. If I get a second.
I second that.
Okay. It's been moved to remand this back to the MPC case P2314 by Commissioner Jim Smith, second by Commissioner John Escadade. Is there any comment?
Yes, I'd like to.
Commissioner Escadade?
I have a question for the
the site plan people, are you planning on submitting a new site plan?
Yes, sir. One of the problems that you run into with real estate development on a parcel this size is typically one project will begin the development or rezoning of the site, and then there'll be follow-on projects. It's impossible to know in the very beginning, when you submit for a rezoning request, what the end product is going to look like. What you've seen in this issue that Mr. Cox brought up here is the natural evolution of that. Back to my earlier comments, what we asked for was a rezoning, not a final site plan approval. That will come when we determine the type of businesses and their names that go on this property. And if I could offer one thing as a brief comment to the opposition concerns that were made here today.
No, that's not what we're doing this time. I had a question for you. You answered that question.
Thank you.
You do have a new site plan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. In light of that, I'm going to support the motion. You know, we're undergoing the UDC study, so we can hopefully avoid some of this. And there's some balance here, and you've got to find it. You've got the concerns of the residents, and they've moved out there years ago because they want to do what they want to do. I find most people that live in rural areas, that's the reason they leave the city, so they can do what they want to do with their property. Well, it works both ways. Your neighbor, or whoever it is, owns this property and he wants to develop it. So, you know, there's a little contradiction there too. Why shouldn't he be able to use his property, his enjoyment? Then you bring in the safety concerns, and safety is always an issue, especially with a school there. But, you know, where I live, kids cross Erie Drive every day going to school, and cross 70th Street, Lyon Avenue, something called crossing guards. You know, that should be a consideration. All I'm saying is nobody ever ends up happy in these things because everybody wants to do what they want to do with their property, but they don't want somebody else to do what they want to do down the road. And at the same time, we want jobs and economic development. And I heard some interesting comments, complaints about traffic and truck traffic. And I guess we get annoyed the older we get, and I'm getting there too, with inconvenience and having to wait. But all those all-service trucks and all that stuff pay big, big taxes and provide big jobs for your neighbors, people that buy homes and pay property taxes. Halliburton's laying off 9,000, or Schlumberger 9,000 people, Halliburton 12,000, Baker Hughes announced 11,000. That's going to have an impact on us. That means when people move out, and they may lose these jobs that we complain about traffic and all, there's going to be less of us carrying the burden, paying the taxes. It always works that way. So it's a give and take, you know. So we have to find some kind of balance. This is obviously in a very bad spot when you're talking about traffic and dead zones. It's probably been the case ever since that road was built. That's been a tough spot, okay? So if you live there and understand it's very dangerous, but you know that's going to be a concern. But hopefully the MPC can work through these and there can be a reasonable accommodation, because we certainly want people to be able to develop their property. We want convenience. We want economic development. We want growth. Growth is inevitable. You can't stop it no matter how far you move out. Personally, I want it noted, I wish the MPC didn't have jurisdiction beyond the city limits. I don't like having to deal with these type of issues. I think if you're out there in the country, you ought to be able to do what you want to do. But fortunately, there's a 5-mile barrier that they have jurisdiction. And is somebody from the MPC here today?
No, they're all.
See, that's another
another
thing that irritates the hell out of me. Sit there and they talk to the residents and they advise you what your rights are and they're going to advocate, and then they try to help the business guys too. They're trying to, and they're not even here. You know, they should be here. And we fund them. If it weren't for us, they wouldn't have a damn job. And it tends to be lately for both things. The MPC is where things go to die. Opportunity goes to die. Because if they're not going to rezone you, they're going to site plan you to death if you make that hurdle. I'm just here to tell you, they're going to site plan you to death. Not what needs to be or what's reasonable, what certain staff members deem as their personal preference. And that's just the way it is. And I'm, quite frankly, the rest of my board members, I'm getting sick and tired of that. It ought to be blind and neutral. So much zoning is arbitrary and capricious. It's emotional. You know, so they ought to be here. They ought to have a presence here. And I'm really disappointed that they're not. You know, if they've got enough gumption to deny something, they ought to have enough to come up here and defend it upon appeal. And if they really did their jobs right, we would hear very few appeals. So, that being said, I'll vote to support to remand it back. I hope that, you know, there can be a reasonable accommodate. Maybe there's something outside the box thinking that can be done. Ultimately, we want to respect the wishes of the people that live out there. Safety is a major concern. The only other thing that I do want to note is, you know, I heard it mentioned that hate for somebody, some child especially, to get killed because a business opened. Well, that's a terrible thing to say. It wouldn't be the business's fault, it'd be the person who committed the accident. And most accidents are due to negligence or irresponsibility. So, you know, we're all private citizens, but at the same time, we need business because we're employed. I have a job, business supports me and feeds my family, and I can't blame them for some idiot who's going to take a curve too fast and kill somebody. Now, did maybe that contribute to extra traffic and add to the extra? Certainly so. But, you know, I think everybody just be fair and realize that safety is a major concern. Hopefully we can work this out. Thank you.
Director Mark Sweeney with the MPC sent his apology. The entire fourth floor and the entire MPC board are in Baton Rouge undergoing some training so that they can better handle issues like
Lord
this.
knows they need training.
Thank you.
Yes, that's Lord knows.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lynn. When the issue comes up with the MPC changing this to a light industrial due to the master plan, and Mr. Lane, is it, okay, that's their wish list. The master plan is a plan that is given ideas for certain areas. Now, whether those areas come to fruition or not is within the barriers of time and growth. So that master plan is just a plan. It's not a project that's going to happen. So they can have a tract of land that said they're going to change it to light industrial, and that's just in their plan. That doesn't mean it's going to come to fruition. As far as the both sides, do the people down there need a Dollar General? Yeah, they need growth. Do the people need the growth of 171 to make it more modern? Yes, they do. But at the price of, in my opinion, at the price of putting it at this location with the original plan that I have seen, with the curve, with the traffic, with the school, with the lights, and knowing trucks the way I do, and know the most of the deliveries of the company that does it, they have a double cab sleeper with a 48 or a 53 foot trailer behind them. Doesn't fit. You can have an engineer talk to me all day long. That's not going to change my mind. That trailer does not fit. That truck does not fit in that curve or off 171. Most people don't understand. Mike does, because me and Mike's been in the business. You're coming down 171, and that truck is going to turn in off 171. With that curb cut off 171, do you still know he's got to come to the left-hand lane to make that turn with a 53 with a double cab sleeper? That means on 171, he's going to either have to block traffic in the left-hand lane to make that turn, or wait to make that turn. Now, say the other proposal, y'all go back to the MPC, which I hope y'all do. I hope there can be a common ground to this. Coming out on the curve, you are 300 feet above the curve, but when you take that 53 or 48 foot trailer and you put a double cab sleeper on it, pulling out, that curb cut is not legitimately sized. Can't make it. I know it. The people who drew the plans know it. You cannot make that turn with an 18-wheeler with a big sleeper cab. Now, 2-lane road. They come off on it. They go down in that ditch. It's a soft ditch. They're going to stick that truck. If they cut it sharp enough and they turn it to where they go across the property, well, they're going to get stuck in their rear axle is going to get stuck in the ditch there. It's not safe It's not done correctly. I know, I'm a trucker. I run a freight terminal. I know what trucks can and cannot do. I'm asking you to go back to the MPC, and I second Mr. Smith in this area, to go back and look at this. Possibly even look at another location. Nothing against the landowners, nothing against Dollar General. But if you're going to do this, do it right, where the people are happy and Dollar General is happy. And if you can't, you can't. But as far as the MPC quoting this is going to be changed to light industrial, not unless it's voted on, not unless it's approved. Then if it does go to light industrial, 9 times out of 10 they're going to use those woods as a buffer zone and not come out on that road. Most industrial parks or most industrial sites have a buffer zone. That wood set there is a natural buffer zone if somebody was to use it and block that. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts here. So I would ask, I want to support you, Mr. Smith, and ask that, you know, with the MPC, if we need to go back to the MPC and make our point known, since they're not here today, we will. But this is, I cannot look at this location as a legitimate location as it sits right now with the original plan. Thank you.
Commissioner Dominic?
I really wasn't going to say anything other than what got brought up. My question was, where was the MPC? I mean, they're normally here, and when they're not here, it's not anything really on our agenda. We have 2 matters concerning zoning on our agenda. I know they're out of town. They sent their condolences, but, you know, it's important to have someone here from the MPC. So
agreed.
I appreciate you telling me that they're out doing some training, and like Commissioner Escudé said, that probably serve them well. But this is an important thing, matter of zoning here today, and I really would like to see them, because I would like to ask them some questions about the spot zoning issue that got brought up. So that's all I have to say at this point.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Chairman. I think much has been said on trying to find a spirit of compromise and a win-win solution. You know, I'm very much pro-business, but I'm pro-residents and family as well. Like John said, we are in a transition with our Metropolitan Planning Board. However, I hope that somebody's not here, because somebody should have stayed back and manned the ship while everybody's gone. And unfortunately, that didn't happen today. So that's been a lot been said. Hope that that we can go back and you guys can go back and sit down together and reason together. And maybe you can come up with your own plan together. Because it's better when people at the level where it's going to affect communicate together. The lack of communication, so hope the residents and the business owners can sit down and reason together. We wouldn't have the confrontation we're having. We can have cooperation. So hopefully when we leave here and go back, send it back to the drawing board, that you guys can create this project together. Because growth is going to happen. And growth is going more towards south. People are moving out of the city to move in the rural area. But you still need business. You still need goods and services. You want to make it where it can impact your neighborhood. So hopefully that we can sit down and remit it back to the board. That's their job. They're neglecting their job. We shouldn't have to do their job for them. That's why we appointed them. Hopefully that they would recognize, and maybe a uniform code would make it better. But it is what it is. So hopefully you guys can sit down and man up, reason together, compromise together, come up with something where you make your own decision. We just have to prove it. Thank you.
I see no further discussion. All those in favor of remanding this back to the MPC, raise your right hand, please. I see no opposition.
Next, we move to zoning ordinance for final passage, ordinance number 5458 of 2014, in regards to zoning case P2214.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Dominic. I do have one question. I don't see anybody else's hand up. Mr. Glass? Or Mr. Whittington?
It's 5458.
Yes.
I'll try, Mr. Lynn. This is on the zoning ordinance?
Okay, hang on. I thought this was on the abandoned.
No.
Excuse me.
I'll talk on that one when we get to that one.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? It passes.
Ordinance for final passage. Ordinance number 5460 of 2015, closing and banning a portion of certain road dedication.
So moved. Did we do 5459?
Yeah, we did that earlier.
That was with,
Did we take a vote on it?
I don't think we took a vote on it.
We didn't take
No, we just let Grant talk.
We just let Mr.
Okay.
Sluter speak.
Yeah, now we can vote.
Then let's,
I
ordinance
move-
number
Move passage
5459.
for Ordinance number 5459. I move for passage.
5459, yes.
I won't comment, from my.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson?
Haley,
Yes, sir.
what was the purpose of these bonds originally?
It was construction bonds, the
Construction?
capital project
Yes.
bonds.
Okay, capital projects?
Yes, sir.
The 416,000 that we'll save, what fund balance would that be?
That's just
Put
gonna
back
come
in.
off our debt payments, which is, our bonds, our debt service. In your budget books, under the debt service tab, you'll see where those funds are paid out of.
Okay.
But it's coming out of the 1.75 millage that we received, the property tax millage that we received to pay our debts. It comes out of that money.
Okay. All right, now I see it 416,000, so that will reduce the debt service.
It'll reduce the interest payments that
Interest
we
payment.
pay on the debt, yes,
Okay.
sir. Over time, not in one
Right.
lump sum, but over
Okay.
time, yes, sir.
That's all.
I think we already voted. We just voted on that. So next item, please.
They couldn't talk.
No, we haven't voted.
Well, we talked,
I'm sorry.
we talked, we voted and then he talked. And so it was actually out of place. We can vote again though. All those in favor,
Yeah, just make sure.
raise your right hand.
Safe and sorry.
Yeah, all right.
All right, now we'll move to 5460, closing and banning Fortune Road.
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to talk on that one if that's okay. This is the one that we're closing and banning the dedication up in North Caddo Parish. And just to make a long story short, this is, Jimmy, if I'm correct, it's an old right-of-way. No road was ever built on the property. It's just something that was dedicated to the parish. There is no road. The property adjacent on both sides is owned by the person that is requesting it. It's not going to affect anybody. They need it to be abandoned so they can get a loan. I think this is a no-brainer. It's not going to hurt anybody. We need to get this property back to them so that they can get their loan. We're not using this property whatsoever. And actually, I think part of the right-of-way, you said, cuts off part of their house. It's the right-of-way that was dedicated back in 1929. I hope that answers everybody's questions. I would ask for you to please vote to abandon this property.
Motion by Commissioner Dominic and the seconds by Commissioner Cox. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Next item, please.
All right, ordinances for introduction. Ordinance number 5461 of 2015, relocating the polling place for Precinct 7, Knights of Columbus, 3407 Hall to Shreve City Baptist Church. Ordinance number 5462, relocating the polling place for Precinct 14, District 4, Knights of Columbus, 3407 Hall to Broadmoor Middle Laboratory School. Ordinance number 5464, 2015, authorizing the parish administrator or designee to sell the Silver Building. Next, we move to ratify the work session minutes of January 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Cox. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
We have no resolutions. We move to old business. Resolution number 39 of 2014, deeming property surplus and authorizing sale of surplus property owned by the parish of Caddo.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Escabade. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Move to new business, confirm reappointments of Dr. Brad Everson, Miss Margaret Bird, and Miss Shirley Russell to the Caddo Parish Animal Services Board. New terms expire January 1, 2019.
Question.
So moved.
Question. Are these all?
Second.
Same one. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Cox, did you have a question?
Are they willing to serve, and have they, were they present at most of the meetings, and did they participate, or are these just names thrown back up there?
That would be something that Mr. Harris would need to
Or-
answer.
Chuck's here.
Chuck.
Okay,
Chuck,
Chuck,
can you
excuse
answer
me.
that? Come up, please. hate to put you on the spot, but, you know, we appoint people, and this is one of the very, industries within Caddo Parish that gets the most attention.
Yes, sir.
Are these, people?
Yes, sir, these people are normally at the board, that's why.
They're getting into the nitty gritty, they're doing their job?
Yeah, they're doing their job, sir, yes.
Okay.
And we're happy with them, and yeah, we'd like to keep them.
That's
on
what
the
I
board.
like to hear. Thanks,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Chuck, I need to see you after this.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And that passes. Move to adjourn.
Mute.
Swing a mean stick.
That's what my wife wants.
Well, Haley, we made it.
That was removed. Wow.
Hey, look.
Wait till you, huh?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, well,